So this is a further installment in mucking around with trying to build this year. It's a bit windy this morning, unfortunately. You can never win. It's nice and clear for a change, and you can see quite well, but it's a bit windy. Last couple of mornings have been dark and misty anyway. So I built this wing using these sort of, the experimental airlines, Armin wing principle. And I built a tubular fuselage following their principles as well to go with it. Problem was, I built it out of this foam board from the surplus store. Turned out it's way too heavy. The wing alone weighs like 26 ounces. It's just ridiculous. So the wing loading from its own weight is like 10 ounces per square foot before you even add on a fuselage. Ended up being over 5 pounds with the fuselage I built for it. So it just wasn't going to fly. Wing loading was too high. I managed to get the fuselage to fly by putting a spare apprentice wing I had on it, which gave it more lift and considerably less weight, so that flew. So I wanted to see if I could get this wing to fly, so I built this stick fuselage. I built the stick fuselage and precisely to put this wing on. Whether it'll work, I don't know. Should work wing loading wise. We're looking at a total wing loading. All up weight with the battery and everything now with that and the wing is about 44 ounces. Considerably less than the over 80 ounces of the original, only just over half. So we're looking at a wing loading of 12.5 ounces per square foot or so, which is not great but is acceptable. Thrust is a little low because that motor and propeller is not going to generate more than 23 ounces of thrust, and we're looking at 44 ounce all up weight, so thrust is barely over 50%. Anyway, I'm not too sure that it's going to fly or not. I'm pretty sure it would fly in terms of the wing loading. The thrust, with a high wing loading and the low thrust, it may not. There's rain south of us, but I believe the wind's coming from the north. I believe the rain's moving away from us, and we should be okay for a bit now, other than having to deal with possibly a bit of a crosswind. So I'm going to assemble it and see if I can fly it. Okay, we got the wing on, we got a battery on, we got the ailerons plugged in. Okay. Right, left. Aha, rudder needs reversing. Right, left. Up, down. Oh God, the down doesn't work very well, does it? I did try and put a reinforcer on from that, but I think it's partially. But then I trying to stress those hinges a bit to see. That's a bit better. Well, I put Minwax on the tail. I put Minwax on the tail, Minwax polyurethane, like wood finish, to try and waterproof it. Don't think anyone else needs to try and waterproof it, and unfortunately that stiffened the hinges a little bit. It's pretty bleeding heavy now. Well, it weighs 44 ounces, I know. And I see we're getting, despite the fact there's some wind and things, and it's fairly clear we're getting condensation on things. I can feel the wetness, the condensation on it. It rained quite a bit in the night. That's the remains of the rainstorm that went over, passing to the south there. But the sky is nice and clear now, and the wind, I'm hoping maybe even the wind's dying down. I think it's remnants, from the storm passing over. Some birds singing. I don't know. There may just not be enough thrust on this thing to get it moving. Combination of high wing loading and low thrust is not good, of course.
Throttle cut off.
Well, I guess that's what you expect from a combination of high wing loading and low thrust. The thing can sort of stagger into the air, but barely. And of course, being in a marginal stall all the bloody time, it doesn't control well. Well, I suppose that's only to be expected. And the wind doesn't help, there's gusts of wind. Well, I suppose maybe the wind does help a bit. It doesn't help in that it blows it around, but it helps in that it gives a little extra lift.
Time remaining 7 minutes.
Yes, well, not about that. That's kind of irrelevant. It's a bit of a bugger to fly, naturally, because it flies. But I mean, what's the point, really? It flies, but you know, as I say, its wing loading is too high and its thrust is too low, so that's the wind getting it. Wind's coming up a bit now. From the northwest, the wind is. Well, it does fly. Basically, it, you know, I mean, the calculations, it's pretty much what you'd expect. The bottom line of this whole exercise is that I should never have tried to build using, and I never would again try and build using that stupid foam board from the surplus store. It's just way too heavy. I don't know what they call it. But it's, you know, it's... I bought it because it was bigger. I just thought it was nice to have 40 by 30 sheets, but, you know, it's not like it's 40 by 30 sheets of regular foam board. It's 40 by 30 sheets of this, I don't know. I think they cover the foam with some sort of clay-impregnated cardboard or something, and it's heavy. It is seriously heavy. As I say, that wing built out of that foam with nothing but, you know, a couple of little 9-gram servers and some wires, a bit dark over there, ended up weighing 26 ounces, which just for a wing is ridiculous. Oh, that wind is really getting it. I'm really trying to bring it in more or less now, but the wind is...
Time remaining 5 minutes.
Well, claps the undercarriage.
Throttle cut off.
Brought it in rather uglily and claps the undercarriage. Broke the undercarriage. Bugger. Oh well. The undercarriage was sort of held on by foam and soup hot glue. And it broke through. I just broke the foam, basically. Well, I brought it. It's heavy. I mean, it really is quite heavy. Yes, well, did I put throttle cut on? Yes, I did. It's pretty much instinct. Now, this is hot glue. This is bits of hot glue. The wing got knocked cockeyed, but that's sort of irrelevant. It's just held on by rubber bands. Yeah, well, we broke. I don't know. Just broke right through the foam that was holding on the undercarriage there. Well, I don't know what that shows you. Well, it shows you can, to some extent, the calculations don't lie. It don't feel light. It's too heavy. It shouldn't weigh this much, but it's that sodding wing. Oh, it's because I'm holding it like that. See why we got a light up elevator? It's because I'm bending the rod. You know, I mean, it's this blasted foam that, yuck. It's this blasted foam that, just weighs too much. That's the root of the problem. So in order to get the foam to fly, in order to get the wing to fly, I had to build the rest of the plane extremely lightly. Well, let's see if the prop's intact there. I think it is.
Throttle cut off. Throttle cut off.
It's got some thrust, but it's got too much weight. Oh, well, there you go, anyway. So that's, I guess, about what we'd expected. Well, I wasn't sure whether it'd fly at all. It sort of flew, but not well, not surprisingly, and the undercarriage wasn't really strong enough. Mind you, it wasn't a good landing, but I don't know, even if I had managed to land it, whether the undercarriage would have been strong enough to support a landing. Oh, well, we'll maybe try it again and see.